Use that hard typing first. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So, welcome to another episode of Formula One News. We try to be incisive, but we always bring you a hint of laughter. Not much to laugh about today for Yuki. Anyway, Yuki has been driving with different specs all year. What was this? Let me see what the name of our. We'll start with that anyway. He's been driving with different specs since he crashed in Monaco. And a lot of people are saying, oh, he doesn't have the same, not Monaco, Imola. They're saying he doesn't have the same car as Max and there's an unfair treatment. But from what I'm seeing is that, Red Bull has a limited amount of resources. It seems like they pump everything into Verstappen. And finally coming into the race next week in Canada, he'll have the exact same car. They didn't have the parts that he destroyed when he hit the wall in Imola, but he'll have an equal car. But in general, he's been sort of nonplussed by the car, not knowing what's going on. And a lot of people think that Verstappen's getting unfair treatment, that the driver too doesn't get the right type of the same car as Verstappen. But my thing is, how can they have the same car when there's different driving styles? So I think it's partly Red Bull is putting a lot of resources into Verstappen, but also Yuki or whoever the number two driver is going to have to lobby for themselves and give the feedback for the type of car they want. What do you think, Kunle?
Well, it's a good thing that Tsunoda has at least managed to improve from the previous driver that was at the Red Bull. So he has been able to show some merit.
Yeah,
he's been able to show some merit, which is deserving of some respect. So when we look at that and then we look at his complaint, I had always said that Red Bull is top heavy. They'd always been about one car. Ever since Perez dropped off about a season and a half ago. Up until then, when Perez was doing well, it was a good wingman in fact, was the only wingman that Verstappen never really had. Everybody else has just been to make up the numbers. And Red Bull have dropped off. And it does look like they're focusing all their efforts on one car.
And There's no secret.
Yes, they should be. They're behind. Ferrari is second in the constructors. I was surprised. Ferrari are second in the constructors. They're ahead of Mercedes. They're ahead of Red Bull. It's only McLaren.
Yeah, Mercedes is dropped off because of all these DNFs. Yeah.
Yes. So Red Bull should be doing better than that. They should be coming first or second at least in the constructors. I think that the disparity between the two cars is too severe. Then they do need to do something to improve that car. And we've seen three drivers and the disparity being high, and we're also seeing the focus being too much on. Not too much. You can never say too much, but too little on the second driver. They need to make more effort with that second.
Well, here's what I'll say. Red Bull is in emergency mode. They've lost Horn. They've lost Adrian Newey. They lost what's the other guy's name? Wheatley, and they lost the other guy to McLaren. So they've lost three people. And the thing is, Rob Marshall. They've lost those three. So. They lost all of them suddenly last year. They lost a bunch of engineers. So it's just like anything in life. Like now we have our show. When you have limited resources, then you have to go for the best you can go. So they lost all of that. So they have a limited amount of resources to spend. They have a limited amount of people to work with drivers. So they now have to focus on Verstappen. Because before, when they had all those guys, this guy was coming second in every race, Checo. So my argument is that by losing Newey, by losing Rob Marshall, Wheatley, by losing all their engineers in the middle of last year, it was an emergency situation. So they don't. And when I say resources, I don't just mean money. You have to see what you can salvage. And the only thing they can salvage, they barely salvaged it last year, was Verstappen winning. So what I'm saying is that before Red Bull can think about developing two cars that are very good and putting those resources, they have to, first of all, rebound from this crisis and get engineers and get a proper team around them. What do you think, Mr. Johnny?
Oh, man.
Because before it was a good team, they had two good cars, but they had a drop off. So my thing is that in that emergency situation, you're like, okay, we can't win the constructors. Let's focus on Max, because if Max doesn't win, then the whole team is going to actually dissolve money-wise. Yeah. That's why they're saying Max is going to go to Mercedes next year. If that happens, Red Bull is finished. But at least if Max wins, then they can say, okay, you didn't win constructors, but let's rebuild for next year. What do you think, Mr. Johnny? Yeah. That's my argument.
Man, I think, that Red Bull car is very fast and very strong. As in, it's like you just put it on and let it go. It's just going to go faster and stronger. And, so the only person that can drive it with, is Verstappen's like a matador that has been able to control that car.
Did you ever read Shakespeare, The Taming of the Shrew? You know, that car is a
So
shrew.
something happened to that car halfway through last season because in 2023,
we were talking about that.
dominated.
Something happened. They went very wrong.
I want to
go
ahead, see,
go back.
like because of Tsunoda. So Verstappen is actually the only person that can control that. The car is actually undrivable and very uncontrollable. But Verstappen is the only one that can actually control it at the main time. So Tsunoda can't. Because that car he probably needs to become put on his samurai
He needs a bit of time
and really fight that car.
To the Japanese temple. I will help me, Elder.
Exactly, something like that, or even become a matador as well, to a Japanese matador, but because that car is just very fast, very strong, and like you said, all the engineers have gone out. All they know how to do is just make it move fast and move strong, And
but the only problem I have is that it's fast, right? But it doesn't have tire. It's so fast, but it's unstable in the back, so that leads to tire deck. But I'm not going to shout about tire deck because, to be honest with you, Verstappen has been the third fastest. His car has been the second fastest car on the grid this year, behind the two McLarens.
Yeah.
But you're right, that car is fast because he's been beating everybody else. He would have come third in the last race, if not. Sorry, Mr. Johnny.
Exactly.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Johnny.
And even if they had played their strategies properly, would have even come second. But Tsunoda is just having it very, very difficult with that car. That's why
you jump into it from nowhere and you come half season, then you don't even have the same parts as Verstappen, like he crashed the car. So what I'm saying is that it's very difficult to expect anybody to jump mid-season. If they knew they wanted Tsunoda to drive, they should have put him from the beginning of the season. You get my point? Yeah.
Yeah,
that was the biggest mistake they made because he needed a preseason for that car.
Also, I'm going to go back. I still think they should have kept this guy this year.
Lawson.
They should have kept Checo because Checo knows the car. Or they should have brought back Ricardo. Bring back somebody who has experience with Red Bull. So they should have brought Checo, and then they should have been grooming whoever they're going to bring to replace him in Red Bull Junior. And then when this season is over, let whoever the junior is, after the season is over, you can do testing with the car. So they should be having these guys doing testing with old Red Bulls before they introduce them to this car. Yeah. Any last thoughts on that, Mr. Johnny, before we go back to Kunle?
I just think I'm just sorry for Tsunoda, but I don't think he's under that much pressure because in the Red Bull team, because they know what's up, they know that he's.
We know that they're going to bring Hadja there next year.
It's just that, so I don't think he'll be under that much pressure. So I think he's just Let
me ask you a question. If Tsunoda was on McLaren, let's say they had 3 McLaren cars and Tsunoda was there, do you think he could beat Piastri and Norris in that? That's an interesting question. I don't know. I really don't know. But to me, I don't know. That shows you that we're not saying that Tsunoda is a bad driver. What if he was driving the McLaren? Do you think that he could beat Norris? Probably Norris is better than both Piastri and Tsunoda, but then Norris has a mental case. You get my point?
He's been actually, as in, when he's driving, as in with the other drivers, he's actually not with the top drivers, but with the other drivers, he's actually on top of them.
Yeah.
So it's actually a good driver.
Yeah, Kule, what do you think? Do you think that
I think Tsunoda is performing now the way Perez was performing in his last 6 months. That's the best way to put it. And I think also that's another reason why you need to keep Tsunoda on, because Perez had that car for a while and then problems came in and he couldn't solve them. Tsunoda's come into a fresh car with fresh problems and it's already at the level that Perez was when Perez was unable to continue with the car. So I think that...
I remember he came P20 though. That was really bad. He came P20 in qualifying.
Yes. So like that musical group he has, the only way is up for Tsunoda.
I think what hurt Tsunoda was coming P20 in qualifying at the last race. What place did he come overall? I think he still came like P almost last or something. So he's going to have to turn it around. But the problem is they're saying he's losing 2/10 to 3/10 because he has different specifications as Verstappen. So it's not only the setup. He actually has a car with used parts from last year and from earlier this year. But that's because he crashed it into the wall at Imola. So, but now moving forward, he's going to have the same car as Verstappen. So he won't have any excuses. So he needs to have a run of 3 races where he finishes in the top 10, top 11. What do you think, Mr. Johnny?
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, if you got a good car that like Verstappen should at least just just be in the points, you know, at least be in the points for the next at least
and
3, 4
don't do anything
races.
stupid. Don't try to be ambitious. Just drive the car. Just manage the car well. That's the way I look at it.
Yes, he needs to drive well and he needs to finish the race. You don't want to pass the car, have all these things where get so excited.
Meanwhile, where's our friend Colapinto? I don't even hear the white girls talking.
Colapinto, he's just happy that nobody's calling his name because he's finishing.
The show was #1 in the world. Everybody, look at Colapinto. What is he doing? Rubbish. I think he froze. Cool, are you there? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm there. I'm still moving. Yeah, Johnny's frozen like that. I thought I heard him say,
there's a girl going down on him. Mr. Johnny, you there?
Yeah,
you said that when you froze, it was like you were like having like a special moment with a young lady.
What's her name? What's her name? Molly?
I'm false.
We're about to head out. Any last thoughts? We've pretty much covered.
So it's been a good analysis of the things that have been going on with Red Bull. We're looking forward to my we're in Canada. I thought we were in Austria, but we're in Canada on the 15th for the next race. That's just a few miles away from where my sons are in Montreal. It's been a good talk today, yeah. So they're going to be able to see the race, and then we're on to Austria and then England. So there are going to be some interesting circuits coming up, especially the Austrian and the English ones. Canada is quite dramatic. The home of Jacques Villeneuve, and it is quite an exciting track too. It certainly doesn't belong in the Mexico type track that you fall asleep just watching people.
That Mexico thing is rubbish, man. Rubbish.
What I miss about Canada's track is the wall of shame doesn't work anymore because the cars are actually better now. Making them, before there used to be that wall where everybody, if you don't
crashed into,
they always crash into if you don't make that turn. It's like the last turning for the track ends. So that place is called the wall of shame. Or with the wall of fame, or what? Yeah, and people.
You know what's going to be a big problem in Canada? Well, it depends on the weather, but there's usually a lot of crosswinds in Canada going sideways. But that's not a big deal. It's a little bit like Silverstone. You don't know how the weather will be. That's the only problem. All right, so Kunle, are we still going to do that one talking later on about the Israel thing? If we do it, we have to do it around 7:30.
Yeah, we can do that around 7. I think it was just general news. Everything I put up was what's happened today.
Yeah, so we'll talk about
it. I'm checking all the news channels, not just Al Jazeera. I check BBC and Sky as well, and CNN. You get the truth if you mix them all up. You'll find out.
You find out what the truth is. Yeah.
So I didn't Arise TV from Nigeria because they were like, these people told us that, and these people told us that. So you get a fair commentary from Nigerian news. Get all of them together, you'll find the truth somewhere.
Yeah. And Mr. Johnny, so I'll send you this thing for the thumbnail, and also we'll do another show on Friday. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks. Have a good one, guys. Okay.
All right. Good show.
Okay. It's always awkward when I can't find the record. You guys stop looking at me now. Stop looking at me.